Episode 82 of the Hoop Threads podcast here with Reggie Burke from Bay Area Hoops. How's it going, Reg?
How you doing? How you doing?
Man, I'm out here living the dream. So let's get right into it. Both were at Under Armour this past weekend, so we'll get into that a little bit. But first, kind of wanted to have you talk to the people, young scouts kind of growing up in the game, talk about the beginnings, talk about how you got started in this industry.
And it was hard. It was hard, but I think when starting out in this game, it was like steps. Learning who's who. Um, Once with the scouting, as you know, it's like a lot of different circles that you got to connect with. So I try to touch base with each. But at the end of the day, the common denominator is like knowing pretty much who's who on kid wise, player wise. You
Hmm.
know, I think once you start to do that, and then you start to like go out to other areas, as we talked about, get out to other areas, and people will see, hey, your consistency. They understand like, hey, this guy is getting credible. Um, he knows the game, and he can help move a kid to another place, either
Hmm.
by, like you said, by a tweet, uh, Instagram post, a conversation with a coach. One of the other ones, but it's just like I said earlier. I think if you stay consistent, invest it because it's a lot of time and money, as we talked about.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's unpaid.
Hmm.
Sometimes you don't get the recognition that you want. You may not get a thank you, Aaron. It may
Yeah.
not be a thank you at the end of the, but that's how it is, how the game goes.
Hmm. Did you play yourself, back in the
I
day?
played a little D3 ball at Alfred University for a hot second.
Mhm.
I have some regrets. I quit. I quit. I was an engineering student, electrical engineering, so it was kind of hard for me to juggle
Mm.
sports and school. It's one or the other. I got to do one or the other. So my mom and my brother was like, hey, we're gonna stick with engineering.
Mhm.
So I was kind of stuck with it, but I still kept in touch with the Coach Jones and a lot of other guys that continued to play.
Was that the Coach Jones is at Norfolk State?
No, no, not that Coach Jones. This is a different Coach Jones, Kev Jones.
Okay, got you. So you
I
said
think
you
he's
said Alfred though, right?
Alfred, yeah, Allegheny County.
SUNY schools. There we go. I'm a SUNY Cortland graduate, so that's
Oh,
good.
there you go. Yeah, hey, I could be in Cortland a little bit.
There you go.
I'm
All
older, though. I'm older. That's back what early '90s.
right. Yeah, I feel old enough thinking about 2014. It's almost almost 10 years away now. So talk about the biggest thing you've learned, being in the scouting game since about '09, and what's the biggest piece of advice
Um,
that's off to someone?
Biggest thing I learned, may not have what I experienced, but who I've talked to. Um,
Hmm.
I'm gonna tell you the most influential guy to me has been John Lucas. Um, the conversations with him are priceless. Uh, the guidance is priceless, and his arm reach is definitely priceless. So and I think learning the landscape, understanding who's who's who, you know. And I'm gonna tell you another thing: figuring out what how people call you, say, "I got a kid, I got this kid, and uh, he's this, he's better than sliced bread," boom, boom, boom,
Mhm.
and they say, "Put him here, talk about it." I learned you can never do that unless you see it.
Mhm.
Because the only thing you got to trust is your eyes. You know, I can't say talk about a kid I didn't see. You
Mhm.
know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
But it's always good to see the kid, place eyes on him, see his flaws, see his pros and cons, and go from there. Because like at the end of the day, it's your name on the line, not theirs. You
Mhm.
know, that's something to really think about. But yeah, I think the most influential situation is the conversation with John Lucas.
Mhm. That's a good person to have in your corner, that's for sure.
Yeah, very good.
Yes, sir. You evaluate throughout the year for the NBA Top 100 Camp. What is that camp kind of looking for? It's obviously not just going off a ranking list. Again, like you said, it's going
Yeah,
off serious drive.
it's like with the guys on that board, that selection committee. They all we all have a different eye, but it's like always consistent eye. And I think it's sometimes it's the hardworking kid. kid that consistently make plays. The kid that you may not think is the kid. You know, it's a kid that we forecast, like we said, can be a potential pro
Mhm.
at some point in time. You know, and we look for the right. We try to predict the right kids when we look around and we compare players to make that spot. You know, that's why it's a gifted camp. You know, very prestigious camp. Any kid that get invited there, or in the beginning or at the end, if you can get in there, I would say get into it. You know,
Mhm.
like I said, I think it's the top camp in the nation.
I think too, for NBA Top 100 Camp, there's slots every year for the sons of NBA players. What have you noticed about how NBA parents handle their sons' recruitment and maybe their development a little bit differently than just a regular parent?
I don't think there's a big difference. You know, every parent, for the most part, who has dreams of a kid playing at a pro level, um, it's a dream. And with an NBA player, that was their dream. So when their kid is playing, if that dream is in him, he's gonna push it like any other parent would do. So all the development, everything that comes with it is all the same. End of the day, that same kid has to compete with that other kid.
Mhm.
So you gotta still play. You gotta still play the game, regardless of who you are. And besides, some people with the politics and whatever. End of the day, you're going to know if this kid was it.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I don't see that. It's not to me. It's not a big deal. That's just my opinion.
I was more talking about, as far as how they handle their recruitment and how they handle, off-season workouts and their approach to the game. You know what I'm
Um,
saying?
and I think that can be financial based too.
Mm, mm,
Some people have the resources to do some things that others don't.
mm,
You know,
mm,
you got a parent whose his reach is different,
mm.
uh, for his kid compared to a parent who may depend on a travel ball coach or high school coach for their kids' development and exposure. So yeah, that part is very different. Yeah,
I got you. Okay. So we've now made it through two live periods, and the AAU portal, so to speak, is definitely hot.
that's
Um,
cracking, right?
yeah, we'll talk about what parents and prospects should be
Yeah.
looking for in a new team. So for me, I always tell parents, what schools are a reasonable level for your son? What events are those schools attending? So if your son is, Harvard is really where he wants to go, that's a very different path versus, a Carolina or versus even something like Kennesaw
Yeah,
State. It's different approaches to it. So kind of looking at where they got their players from. And then also just trying to match that, and then also just seeing like the culture of the program of, where your son is at. And then also like who wants him, you know?
that's I did about to say, you got to get cut to the chase.
Mm,
Who wants him?
mm,
Does is he wanted by that school? And when I go, would you send your son to a school that don't want him?
mm,
Just to be sitting on the bench.
mhm,
No time frame to hit the court. So it's like it got to be a fit.
mhm,
But like you said, talking to parents, um, and this is another thing I've learned. If a parent asks me a question, I tell them the most sensible truth I possibly can, and without being disrespectful, but being honest. Because at the end of the day, I don't want you to say, "Hey, Reggie Burke man told me a lie." No, I'm
yeah.
telling the truth. What I've seen and what I know, and I just try to be upfront.
Mhm,
So it's like like you said, when you want to look for a Harvard, like you said, where would you want to start placing your kid? But then also, I tell a parent, you have to do some work too.
mm,
You got to sit there, go get them emails, go get a contact, make your own contact base, coach base. Get your kids to some of them team camps, or school team camps, individual camps. Move around a little bit, and you'll find out if your son has that factor that he's going to play some level of college basketball. And then, like you say, you want to say, hey, realistically, where does my son fit? D1 or D1 down. Where does he fit? Honestly, you know,
mhm.
that's the where the problem occurs a lot. Everybody got a D1 player.
They got all hung up on that. And I had a really cool quote from a friend. He was like, if you got the chance between Division 2 and Division 1, man, he's like, the only difference is signing day. He said, if you can leave with your name on the wall, then do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
There's
cool. Yeah, talk about it. Talk about it. I told somebody this the other day, I said, you want to make a difference or not? You know,
Mm.
leave your name on somebody's wall, go into a school day, years afterwards and say, damn, my picture, look at that big old picture. Look at my name there. I put in work here. That's something, hey, that's something big. A lot of people can't say that.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, at any school, you get your name on a wall like that, you did something special. Come all American at your, in that situation. Yeah, that's a lot of saying, that's a lot of boasting.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, for
like I
sure.
say, I think go where you can do the most damage at.
Okay. So, what intangibles are college coaches often looking for the most when they talk to you? For me, a lot of the time it's competitiveness. Like, I just want a dude that like shows that he wants to be there.
Yeah, I
That's
think
what I
that
hear the most.
that's at the top of the list because
Mhm.
if you can't compete, I'm probably not even looking at you. Especially I don't like players who take plays off. So a guy that can compete, a guy that can make plays, um, with and without the ball,
Mm.
is attractive to me. A coachable kid, a lot of people don't understand. Like, guys like myself, I listen to parents talk. I listen to kids talk outside of the game. I walk around. I do a lot of different type of scouting because end of the day, I'm sending a kid to a coach who trusts me.
Mm.
So I gotta send you a kid that's trustworthy, on and off the court. So if you on the court and you're off the court, actions are detrimental. I'm gonna let the coach know. So you understand, I told you what you may get. So yeah, it's a lot more to it, but competitiveness, definitely. If you can't compete, we ain't got no reason to talk.
It's a game, but we're trying to win that game for sure. So, what do assistant coaches kind of complain about the most? For me, I had the opposite of what you just said, just the feel and not being able to play without the ball, and especially kids being unrealistic about their level, kind of
Yeah.
ignoring, Division 2, Division 3 coaches, JUCO coaches, because they think that they're, a different level. What's the answer to that one for you?
Um, you know, effort, effort's one, but like realizing when you realize, say, I'm D2, I'm not D1, or maybe I need to go JUCO to get to a certain stage. I'm a JUCO kid. I can work on to becoming where I'm going to go. Wherever you feel like I fit right here. If you believe in that, I think you'll have a better career than saying I'm a Division 1 and you get to Division 1 and you stay there, you sit there. I ain't gonna stay because you ain't doing nothing. Then you pop back in the portal and a lot of stuff. It's so much stuff to where you're not being realistic with yourself that goes wrong. You know,
Mhm.
so if I was in your place, if I was the assistant coach somewhere, I want the kid that believes he knows where he is.
Okay, perfect. What are scouts and college coaches taking note of when it comes to parents? I want them to hear this one from you.
Their actions, like they're this is crazy because I think the past couple of weeks, I just sat in stands. Team didn't know who I was. I just sat in stands, just listen,
Mhm.
But their outlook on things, their outlook on placement, um, like this is my pet peeve. What's one of my pet peeves? When you have a player, he's playing, you know, and maybe he's having a down game. Some players do have down games, and mentally he's just not in there yet, and he got to listen to the coach, which he has to listen to the coach. There's schemes and things that he has to do, but then a parent has his own coaching thing he got to do on the sideline, or she got to do on the sideline. Now that kind of adjusts the mentality of the player, because now he gonna not listen to his parent,
Yeah.
So he got to acknowledge his parent, listen to the coach, get his mind right on the court, and still produce. It's a lot of stuff that this kid got to do, So I would tell parents, let the kid play, and when you talk to him before the game, talk to him after game, you know, and ask him what let him talk about his game. Now, don't talk. Let him talk, and he's going to tell you everything. And then you tell him, you talk to him, and encourage him then and there. Um, but those parents who forcefully sideline coach,
Mm.
uh, he kind of help. You're not helping the situation out.
Your son's got to be really talented for coaches to overlook that, like really talented.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had an interesting, conversation with the high school coach. It was actually on the podcast, Eric Singletary, head coach of Sidwell Friends in DC. And he was saying that he notes, the type of questions that parents are asking him during the recruitment of that kid coming from middle school to high school. Um, what what type of questions do you think college coaches want parents to be asking them in that recruitment process?
And I'm gonna put my parent hat on this. Got 4 boys to play basketball.
Mhm.
Um, and one of the questions always is like, where do you see my son on the court? You know, and as a parent, I ask myself, do we like the school? Do I like the school? First of all, because if he wasn't playing basketball, would I be here?
Hmm.
So um, questions like that, who's there already in that position? Um, and is it somebody that I got to compete with, or do I got to worry about competition for that position? Those are the questions I would ask. I mean, I think they're legit, and I think the coach should be able to get a legit answer, saying, "Hey, we see you get on the court in next year, or we see maybe a red shirt in place, or we see immediate, impact right now, you know." So kind of prepare the kids. Hey, as the parent, you know what your kid's going to get. You'll know if your kid's an impact player, or is he? Hey, man, we need a little time. But I think I want to know, what do they see him on the where do they see him on the court at time frame?
I wish the parents were more realistic about the is he an impact player, right off the bat. I think
Yeah. Oh
kind of
yeah.
it's gotten lost in the shuffle of just, even 10, 15 years ago, freshman playing was pretty rare, and starting and in a big role was also pretty rare. A lot of
Oh yeah.
people just had to
Yeah.
play behind guys and get stronger and, learn the system and stuff. Like Rick Pitino, all of his guards, even as freshmen, they're not good until the end of the year,
Yeah.
because they have to learn all the different trapping things that they do. So,
Yeah,
um,
I'm glad you said that, because there's a situation where, you know um each level that you go to, middle school to high school to college to pro, learning like the aspects, uh defensive rotations as you get higher, learning the game. A lot of kids who come in from a middle school aspect or from a high school aspect to wherever they go don't understand. They just know how to play basketball. I'm talented, and I can play, but they don't know the interesting parts of learning to play. They know how to play, but they need to know how to learn to play.
mm,
And I think that's interesting, especially when you see guys when you get to a pro level. You wonder, like, where's this guy at? Well, he probably had problem learning defensive rotations as a pro. Certain little things like that they have to learn, and not just about always giving the basketball. What you doing without the ball. So it's a lot.
I'm going to put the spotlight on trainers a little bit because I think that there needs to be more attention to detail when it comes in those training sessions. But the kid's not always going to have the ball in his hands, so
Right.
relocating, coming off of pin downs, coming up from the corner, coming in from half court into a jump shot, shoot a shot, run back
Yeah,
pass.
yeah. Oh, there's now there's trainers out here that do that. I know a few
Mm,
that understand what we're talking about. And then
mm,
there's some that startup trainers. There's some that you know um, you think they know, but really don't. But they can learn. But like you said, teaching the kid that aspect of it will help, and not just dribble, dribble, shoot, go past the cone.
yeah. Yeah. All right, so let's get to this event that we were at. So at UAA, what top guys lived up to the hype? Do you want me to take this one first, or?
Oh yeah, I'll let you go.
Okay, so from my area, Dairy Queen, Thrill 17U, um, they had some tight games in the beginning. Middlesex Magic game was really good. Ended up winning the championship. I think his body's gotten a little bit better, and he's more. I think he's been more decisive with his movements. When he's catching, he's facing, attacking right away. He's not like letting the game come to him, like he's being the aggressor. And I thought he went out of his way to show, that he's getting on that rim a little bit more too.
And
Um,
piggyback what you're saying.
yep.
Uh, my first time seeing Derek was at, like I told you, last year at the NBAPA camp, and
Hmm.
I spoke to him a couple times, and I just wanted to see him do more than just be a big guy in the perimeter, um, holding the ball longer than it should be held. Uh, and like you say, I think as that year growed, I think he probably learned a lot from Coach Bulls at Mount Vert. So learning to do more of what he has to give, because I thought he had more to give. When I saw him, and so seeing him at UA, I watched him a lot, and just watch him. He changed up some things. He was able to not just be um, a perimeter guy with the ball as a big, but he was able to take, go down low, cause havoc. So it's a hard. It messes up a defense. Like, hey, how do you really check this guy? Because he's kind of versatile, you know. And I think he started to see what what he can do. You know,
Hmm.
but I like Queen.
Hmm. The other one that I have for this one, Efioso Oliogu, Canada Elite 17s, his second year playing on that team, playing up. Just a freak of nature. He's grown to at least 6'6" now, if not.
Yeah, now that was my first time seeing him was this past weekend.
Mm,
I heard his name before, um, and I see like nice frame, young. I think he works. He works. He can work the interior, like to dribble drives a lot. You know, I like the power in his game for his for his side. Like I said, I didn't know he's 6'6", 6'7", something like that. So like you said, you said he grew since you saw him last. But I think he has a bright future. He got a little dog in him. So I think he has a bright future.
hmm. I think he's added more of the perimeter game. Um, he's still, at least for me, he wasn't hitting really deep threes. A lot of it was close to the line, which is not a bad thing, but it's just something that I'm noticing. And the leaping went to another level. I saw him for the first time last year. I think it was Under Armour second session in Indianapolis, and just playing up. He was just like a bowling ball. Just got to the basket, just attacking the rim and finishing. And he didn't finish it the first time, kind of getting the rebound. And I think that some of the handle and some of the skill work was a little bit more raw, but you could kind of see the vision with it. So I'm glad that it's kind of rounding the form now. So,
But
um,
he's a kid. Like those are kids. Like you want to see. Like what did he add on from what I saw him last time or
mm,
before? Like
mm,
if I see a kid and I don't see the improvement in your game, I kind of back off because I don't. If you're not if you're not constantly trying to get better, like you said, if you say, hey, he didn't shoot a lot of long range, he's a couple feet in from the three. Let me see next time. He probably, hey, he got got a couple shots behind the arc. You know, let me see what did you add to your
mm,
game to
mm,
make you, like we say, uh, a guy to be a potential pro.
mm,
What we looking at? We already know you're going to college.
mm,
We know you graded on a different scale now. We're not grading you for going to. We know you're going to a Power Five.
mm. Yeah, 100%. So we'll move on to the next one. New names that popped, at least to me. So the first one is El Haj Diallo. Have you seen him? Curry set.
Not fully, not fully. I can put him on
He's
the
just 6'7". Upper body is kind of getting there, but like the base, his legs are huge. One of my friends was, describing him before I saw him as he's got cyclist legs.
right.
Um, he's really strong, really athletic, takes pride in the defensive end of the floor, blocking shots. He almost had a triple double, was one block away from a triple double. He had 13 points, 15 rebounds, and 9 blocks.
Right.
Um, just I think as a ball handler right now, it's pretty raw. It's kind of developing. He can kind of straight line drive it, but he's not taking anyone off the dribble, kind of doing any of the wing stuff yet. He kind of likes doing the big man shit, which I always like to see, especially in a younger prospect. Next one is Brooks Barr. And El Haj, by the way, is a freshman, just finished his freshman season at Combine Academy.
Yeah.
Beginning of the year, got in here or there, but toward the end of the year, kind of carved out more of a developed role as a rebounder, shot blocker, stuff like that. So I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. They just won their championship this past season. My next one was Brooks Barr, Texas Impact 413. Did you see him play?
No.
Okay. Uh, White kid, just a shooter on Texas Impact. I saw him play against Derek Queen. He had a stretch, and I think it was toward the
What team
end.
did he play for?
Texas Impact 413.
Okay.
Just really strong guard. Just uses his frame to kind of bully guys to the rim. He's actually a much better passer than people thought. Entered the second weekend as the assist leader for UAA 17s. Was just finding guys, kind of using his scoring gravity. I thought he was good at getting into the paint. Kind of struggled to finish with the floater package, I think, right now. But he had a stretch where he had 5 threes in the space of 4 or 5 minutes. Took them from down 27 or whatever it was down to like 13, I think it was.
He a gamer.
Yeah, he was getting into it, and saw him play the next day as well, and just loved his game. And then the last one is Tristan Wilson with Thrill 15U. I've
Yeah, I
seen
saw a little of him.
I've seen Thrill quite a bit. I just think kind of before he was like more of a toolsy kid. You could kind of see the vision, but he put it together. In the 2 games that I watched, hit I think 4 or 5 threes in the 2 games combined. Had a couple blocks. Had at least 7 or 8 rebounds in each game. Movement skills were pretty good. Can get off the ground quite a bit. He had one take to the basket in their game against B May's 15s that he got fouled in midair and almost finished the dunk. I was like, whoa, shit, okay. So he's kind of getting after. What did you see from him?
um, for a little bit of him, what I saw, consistent. You know what I mean? He's a kid that I'll put on my list. I'll put a watch list just in
Mm-hmm.
case I gotta watch him more, and I think he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna watch more, especially since 15U.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a few 15Us that I did see, it was a few. I kind of, if I go watch a 15U, it's gonna be a kid that I'm hearing about. Um, I got some intake on. I need to go check him out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a 15U kid. What is his name? He's a new kid, and I think he's out of Atlanta.
Atlanta Express.
Right now, before I forget, because I will get mad if I forget the kid.
Was it 15U Atlanta Express?
Yeah, Atlanta Express. Yep, 15. I think his name is Jerron Salisbury. Yeah, gotta be Jerron Salisbury. That's his name.
That's the one I was going to bring up.
Bro, yeah. I'm gonna tell you the crazy thing with him. I, I, he was at the underclassmen All American game in Atlanta, given by Horace Naismith. So, and he had an explosive dunk. Which is cool. I don't get hyped about that. Everybody can dunk, but it was just something about him. And then when we got to the UA, I got a text message say, "Hey, didn't even know it was the kid. Check the 15U Atlanta Express team. And they were just put together. They're really new. But watch his movements. I think he has a chance. I think he has a chance. He has some athletic moments as usual. Something, but I do get on kids about body language. I get on kids about staying in tune at that age because you don't know who's watching you. Yeah, and that's a big thing. That's what you say it, I say it. So somebody's thinking he, I say watching this kid, but he may not think so. And that was, going back to that game, that UA, there's another kid I think I mentioned to you earlier, Sean the Babe, that plays with SOH Elite. He's a 25 kid. I think he's about 6'8" right now. I think about 6'8" right now, but he's a lefty, shooter, ins and out, gets the basket off the bounce. I think he has a lot of intangibles. It's a versatility because 1, 2, and 3, and he's right now he's high on my list.
Got you. So next one will be favorite teams to watch. For me, really enjoyed watching
Is it out of UA or out of
out of
all?
UAA. Yep. For me, Jersey Shore shot 16s. One of my favorite underclassmen, Aiden. I really don't want to mess this up. Aiden Kirkak, um, just was really getting after it on both ends of the floor, playing up a year. He's a freshman playing with the 16s. Can
A
take
lot of
on.
that this weekend too.
It really was a lot of that, man. I just enjoyed his game. Was really dynamic in transition. He can shoot it a little bit, but he's more of the passing was interesting to me, and he was a lot more athletic than I originally thought he was. Teammate Nas Hart as well, 6'8", 2025, from Keyport High School. Got a plus wingspan, was just super athletic, some dunks and some blocks. Miles Blackley on that team as well, lighted up from the perimeter. I had a couple of games where he had, at least 18 or 19, if not 20. And then the last one was Jameer McNeil. Saw him against We Are 116s, really tight game. Almost brought them all the way back in that game. Liked his game as well. The We Are 116s is just full of, I think, mid-major prospects that I think can be really good. Adrian, say again?
Yeah, I think that team when I first got in, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Adrian Stevens from Bullis was really scoring well this weekend. I want to see him do more outside of that. He's hitting shots, attacking the basket, showing off his athleticism, a little undersized, 6'3", but he plays hard. And then his teammate Gabe Tanner had a pretty good game against short shots as well. I think he had 24 in that game with, 4 or 5 rebounds,
Right.
2 steals. Pretty athletic kid. Liked his game a lot. And then the last one was another homer pick, DCP, DC Premier. Um, they just had a lot of dudes that I think are kind of sleepers in the class. El Haj Diallo, or not El Haj Diallo. Blanking on his name. Looking through my report right now for it. Alex Tuomo from Gonzaga. I've seen him quite a bit. Can shoot it. Starting to put it on the floor a little bit more. Rebounding the ball, blocked some shots, which was good to see. He wasn't really getting up off the ground, a ton during the season. Here's the one that I was trying to name: Emmanuel Conga, 25'6'8", DC Premier, that was at Carroll this past season, but didn't play. He was coming over, I believe, from Africa. Someone with eligibility as far as making sure he had the grades and stuff. So he's good to go for next year. Was just blocking shots, rebounding the ball, attacking the basket. Geo Sanford was playing really well. Super athletic kid, Eleanor Roosevelt. His dad, Bruce Shingler, coaches the 17s, was a college coach for a number of years. Jason Peterson, 6'7" wing that can kind of stretch it from the perimeter and can score a little bit in the paint. Super athletic. He also plays for Bullis. And then Amari Witherspoon, 6'4", kind of combo guard. They were using him as a point guard. I don't know if that's his long-term projection, at least for me, as far as handling ball pressure and when they blitz ball screens. I don't know how comfortable he is dealing with that right now. So I think it'll be interesting to see what position he ends up in at the next level. And then Will Harper as well from Gonzaga, super, super athletic, 6'5" kind of wing. So any of those guys stand out to you?
A few that you mentioned. Some are on the list. They're brand new to me. Like I say, what I try to do is those kids get a couple looks at them. I like getting new kids to put on the list to go watch. So
Gotcha.
that's another thing. And like, especially coming in, leaving, like I said, leaving Nike, watching some guys over there. Coming to UA, I haven't been back to UA in years, so this is my first year coming back for a while. It's been a while. Yeah, there's some kids out there. There's a lot of kids, like I know we talked about some of the sleepers, maybe some of the unknowns that can make some damage in the 224 class. But some kids that I like for example, like I like a Demarius Owens out of Albany City Rocks.
Mm.
I like him. I like he's not unknown, but I like the young boy Ace Bailey out of Atlanta, Georgia with AOT. I like some of the young 26 classes, like we talked about, especially Florida. I think Florida has a whole bunch of 26. classes that can mean a lot, and that's really special. That's really special, So, and I ain't gonna throw a lot of names out because I won't throw too many names out. The guys I'm looking at, but I got a list of guys that I'm looking at, and some of the guys you named, and I got to put up on my list. I got to go check them out as well.
Mhm.
If it's something interesting, I can put on this NBAPA Top 100 list.
Got you. So my favorite individual matchup was Tristan Wilson, that we touched on earlier, with throw 15s versus Griffin Sampson, with Curry, Team Curry, 15U. Uh, Sampson was really getting after it, just hit a ton of shots, and that kind of opened up some driving lanes. Got to the basket, found his teammates, had two good steals in the open court to kind of head going the other way and get them back on a run to get them back in the game. Curry ended up losing by one.
Yeah.
Tristan was impacting the game on both ends of the floor. That one really stood out to me. Any individual matchups that you really enjoyed?
I don't do too many individual matchups. Like, end of the day, look at the kid that could put shit together. You
Mhm.
know, um, are you a are you a what type of player? You can game? Are you a gamer? Um, if it's a matchup, because sometimes most kids may not even get matched up. Where if I'm looking at a wing and compared to a point guard, I don't see that. That may not be a match I don't want to see. But if it's 2 point guards, hey. But then also there could be two different type of point guards. It could be it could be a tomboyish point guard, scoring point guard, compared to a guard who could be a general that's a passing guard. That's he may be more effective with people around him.
Mhm.
So in the matchups, you got to be careful about who you're matching up and what type of guard. Because sometimes you may see the guard that you're not looking at, but then you look at the stat line and you're like, damn, he gave out 12 assists,
Mhm.
and 7 rebounds and gave me 10 points,
Mhm.
and he may was quiet. But then you look around another guy, he may give you 25 points, but only 3 assists. But so I kind of stay away from matchups
Mhm.
and let's look at how much you produce and how would it look like producing at the next level with other players around you.
And then
So
other players that are the same size as you as well.
yeah, you're right,
That's a big part of it.
right.
Got you. So the next one is kind of still holding stock. I mentioned the first one before, Geo Sanford with DC Premier 16s. Just really athletic, I think he's about 6'4", 6'5" now. Wing. He kind of grew up as a big man, so he has some of that big man skill set as far as rebounding the ball and finishing around the basket, but he's adding some perimeter stuff, and he looked a lot more athletic this past weekend. And then also on the same team, Francis Full Effect, just a really strong, about 6'5", kind of wing like 3/4. Um, right now I kind of see him as a low major, mid major kid. I had a pretty good year with Mount Zion High School this past year, in Maryland. First year of having the high school program, not just the prep team. And he's just super physical, can score around the basket, a really good defender, kind of puts his body on the line and can guard, 3 through 5 at a pretty high level because he has a really strong base and his upper body's pretty strong as well. So, um,
Like with both of those guys, I think I passed that game. I would say like they could give me more on the perimeter, uh, more like I said, uh, put the ball on the ground, and and look, they seem like more 3 and D guys. Uh, they can be, you know, but I like their size. So, but like that's a crazy thing. Like when you see a lot of kids, especially in that dynamic, when you get to the gym, it's so you hit a ball bounce. So, and when you when I kind of zone on a kid and I see a let's say a 6'7" kid, either he's sizable or he's thin, or now I say what can you do and what are you forecasting to do at the next level? So maybe we talked earlier off air, like all the ifs. How many? I don't want a lot of ifs. Some of the things we want to see like they're implanted already. So we want to see you do at certain things at your size. You
mhm.
know, and how long can you get it? Can we? If you go to the next level, will it be added on to it? and will it project you as a pro?
Mm,
So
mm,
it's just, and I think sometimes I look at kids, I don't want to give kids like, I want to keep pushing them, but also we understand that the ball just don't stop here. It's next levels that go to this. So,
mm,
so we want to see what can you add on, what can you fix in your game. And this if sometimes it may not even be fixable. It may not even
mm,
be fixable. It's a lot
mm,
of kids who fell by the wayside
mm.
and
Gotcha.
they better.
Actually, each level gets more difficult too.
Yeah.
So the last section, just available seniors.
Wait, before you go there,
Sure.
there was another kid I wanted to throw out there. I want to, and somebody gave me this name to go watch. His name was Billy Richmond,
Mm,
Billy Richmond from New Jersey Scholars.
mhm.
I don't know if you know about that kid. Uh,
Saw him last week at Nike
yeah,
briefly.
I
I
like him a little bit.
Yeah, super bouncy, super.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
real aggressive. I think I like his size. I like his ability to go right or left. Some things that I think he does well. Uh, I like his second jump. Now I think he's a competitor. You know,
mhm, mhm.
some of the intangibles that they fixed. I see some fixed intangibles. Now it's like see what could he do? What could a coach bring out of him at the next level?
Mm, mm. Got you.
And Jalil Bethel.
You live with that. Yeah, he's a
Yes,
problem.
Jalil Bethel.
Yeah.
That's another one has been scratching on me. He was scratching on me. And he's another like I told a friend of mine, and I said, what I do like that he can shoot the three ball, but I don't want him to get caught up, you know, shooting the three ball. I think he can get more out of I get more out of him too, you know. But I do like his game. I think he's gonna go far. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one last thing on that. I mean, with Jalil, I mean, and then we'll get back to to Under
Yeah,
Armour. But
yeah,
with Jalil, I think it's important. I actually had him on the podcast last fall before the
yeah.
season, and I really think it's important on that final team. He's got Rob Wright, and then he
Oh
also
yeah, oh yeah. Rod is tough.
yeah, and then he also has another point guard there as well. The Imhotep kid. Why am I blanking on his name? Just picked up the Kentucky offer.
Uh,
Um, I can't believe I'm blanking on this right now. Anyways, they have two point guards on that team. I would love to see him get some on ball reps just coming off of screens because I think
correct,
he has some playmaking ability to show.
correct.
Just kind of within his role on that team, he's kind of just on the wing as a shooter and kind of as a secondary playmaker. Just would like to see.
That's one of the issues you look at him like, next level.
Mhm,
Will he survive just being a shooter?
mhm,
It's so big going further. But like I said, I like that core guys they got over there.
mhm.
I think they got some good backcourt. We call it a problem, but they got some good backcourt pieces.
Yep, absolutely. So last question for the Under Armour thing. Available seniors. You can speak on the second one in a second because he actually goes to high school in your area. But Levi Lawal with DCP 17s, it's really long, really athletic, kind of 3/4. Still available and looking at some stuff. I thought he had a solid performance. The first game that I saw, I'm blanking on the team that he played. It was from Utah. I think it was not Utah Stars. Blanking on the name, but he had a pretty good performance. But I think he's a solid kind of low major sleeper. That can help somebody out. I wonder if he's going to prep or do JUCO or anything before that. And the other one is Baraka Okoji, Canada Elite 17's DME. What can you tell me about him?
Um, Not too much. Not too much. I need second viewers. First viewers don't do good for me because
Gotcha.
sometimes you turn around and you wonder what happened. So
Gotcha.
you probably know more about that one than I do.
Yeah, he's a 6'3" point guard, 2023, plays at DME Academy down in Florida. Just really athletic, just lives in the paint, gets up and down. Kind of want to see what he can do outside the paint a bit more, even
They
watch.
just didn't they just got that team back together for a minute. I know they were down uh
Mm,
not too long ago.
Mm.
It was during the high school season.
Okay.
I don't know if
Gotcha.
did he just get added to that roster?
I think he just got added to the Canada Elite roster. Yeah. I mean, he was, I like the flashes that I saw from him because he was just playing really hard. Like speaking to what we were talking about before, playing really hard at both ends, just running in transition with the ball, just kind of just pushing, just like always pushing the pace and trying to find guys and initiate offense early, which I think is important because it puts pressure on the defense and it makes them kind of get into their bench a little bit as well. So, any other names? Any parting shots before we get out of here for today?
Like I always say, watch out for the Florida boys. That's all I say. Florida got a lot to say. Florida got a lot to say. I know that's my home base, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of kids you got to start looking at. Like I told you off air, the 26 class, the 25 class, and I know we talked about Carter Knox a little bit. I like where he's going, the direction he's going.
Mm-hmm.
Getting out from under his brother's wing, adding more in his perimeter game, adding more, putting the ball on the floor. Showing that he's a top prospect and not just Kevin Knox's brother.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
some things that we can look at, like 26, the class of 2026. I think Knight Riders has a really good class. I think Team Breakdown has a good class of 26 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like what each one Florida Rebels with Coach Reese, what he got going over there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there's some things in Florida that I think they got a lot to say. A lot to
Mm-hmm.
say.
Quick thoughts on Dwayne Brown on Florida Rebels, 16-year, I believe.
Big boy,
Yeah.
big boy. I like his footwork and I like his hand.
Mm-hmm.
He's a I call him a gang buster. He can mess things up.
Yeah.
Um, I would like to see him spread his wings out a little more, take that 10-footer, pop more of those shots, uh, use more of the screen and rolls, uh,
Mm-hmm.
use his body more.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll be fine. He'll
Yeah.
be
Saw him play the first session. I believe it was either against Mello or Takeover at Nike, and just how hard he played, just really impacted the game. Double double. I think he had like 15 and 12. Just got offered by Cincinnati, so really enjoyed him. Really, I mean, the Florida teams, like you said, there's a lot of talent in those younger classes, and they're all stupid athletic. So the games are almost always fun to watch. So I appreciate the time, Reg. Let the people know where they can find your work on Twitter and online.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you getting me on.
Yep. Well, let the people know where they can find you on Twitter. Your
Oh, on
information.
Twitter, Bay Area Hoops, um, FL. You'll find me, and on Instagram, Bay Area Hoops LLC. You'll find me.
Got you. Appreciate the time, brother. Hope to see you on the road soon.
Yeah, you gonna see me. You go. I'll see you when you get to Orlando.
Will
Hey, you
do.
gotta stick out with me. Come on down to Florida.
Got you. Got you. Thanks, brother.
All right, thank you. I